Greetings everyone. Welcome to Speak and Boom with Sasikulandi. Today we are going to see something called as Middle East turmoils. This is not something new I'm going to speak. This is happening for decades. There were a lot of superpowers were punching the Middle East for their superiority and profits. But now we can see the two allied powers who won the world wars are not still in good terms with each other. We could able to see how this Cold War had split the world into the East and the West. The Russians and the Americans are not still satisfied with the terms which they have. The Americans, they are now the best political enemies of Russia. They don't fight directly, but they had created their own proxies which they fight in each wars. The Middle East is getting funded by each and every people. Countries like Saudi Arabia, Turkey might not come into the correct concept of Middle East, but it borders the most destructive force of Middle East, which is now currently had been seized the Syria, such as the major chunk of Saudi and Turkey are controlled by the United States. While if you see the countries like the Iran, Iraq, these areas, and the Libya, Syria, so these people, they come under the command of Russia. The countries which are near to them, if we say simply, the Azerbaijan is also kind of supportive to the Turkey, while the Armenia holds the support from the Russians. So if we see countries like Armenia, Azerbaijan war is also kind of superiority wars between the United States and Russia. So if we see either a Russian hand or an American hand will come under each and everything to fight. If you see the Syria, previously it was under the control of the Bashar al-Assad, the dictator, or anything you can see the leader of the country. Right now he fled to Russia. So we could able to see it has been controlled by the Iran. So the Iran, Iraq, Syria were actually in good terms. So there are some speculations that are going on, like the Islamic State were a kind of proxies that are created by the United States. So there are some of the theories going on. These are speculations. Their informations are not accurate. So if we also see the Afghanistan was also previously under the control of the West. But now we could able to see the hand of Russia are aligning with the Afghans. And also if we go to the Pakistan is also having a superior amount of money pumped upon by the United States. So if we see there is a very, very large extended Middle East, we cannot pitch India into this. Why we see it? India is having its own policies. Like India is neither an ally of US nor an ally of Russia. It maintains a status of neutral. It does not want to involve in any of the controversies happening in the world, or it does not need to stand in any other sides. That is also safe for India. To be honest, Indians do not need to take any stand because their diaspora is one of the huge diaspora next to the Chinese diaspora, their population itself, its own strength and weakness. There is a difference between Indian diaspora and Chinese diaspora. Chinese diaspora people do not leave their country to be shambled, while the Indian diaspora is not the same. The Chinese diaspora come from an communist-based government, the single-party republic, while India does not come from a single-party republic. The diaspora comes from a multi-party republic, democratic republic. Chinese are not democratic republic. So the Chinese diaspora people mindset will be completely different. The Chinese diaspora has lot of possibilities to give intel to the Chinese government itself. The Chinese diaspora, we can able to expect some loyalty towards their country, but Indian diaspora is not necessarily to be. That is why you could able to see many Indian diaspora are easily able to get into the politics of the countries. So the Indian diaspora, once they go out from the country, they become a naturalized citizen of the country. The Chinese people learn Chinese, but they are not so well versed with English so easily. The Chinese people are good at everything, but they are not good at communication. If we see the Indian diaspora, meanwhile, it is very, very smart in communication. That is why you could able to see a lot of politicians are from the Indian diaspora, not only for the United States. It is indeed for the countries like United Kingdom, the former Prime Minister, United States, the former Vice President, the South Africa, could able to see prominent MPs, and also the West Indies based areas, and also there will be some Australian and New Zealand politicians will also be there. And apart from that, in Russia, you could not able to see most of the Indians as Russians, but India is not learning Russian that much. But you could able to see Ruski people, diplomats. Most diplomats are trying to learn Ruski. So diplomatic people can go into the eastern side. We are indebted for both of the east and west. East gave us the protection, while west gave us the wealth. So Indian diplomacy cannot forego United States or Russian relationships. We will stand neutral in the ship. So okay, we will just go now to the extended Middle East. We from Pakistan to Turkey, we could able to see the hands of United States and Russia are going hand in hand. The regions like Afghanistan, Iran, Iraq, and the regions like Syria, one kind of section of Syria are in control of Russia. One part of Syria is now in control of United States. It's like 50% of Syria. The Assad went. It doesn't mean Syria had fallen. Syria has its own government, and their government diplomacy now, it's Russia's diplomacy, how to bring back Assad or bring back a new face. So, and then you have countries like Libya sitting there, and there will be, one minute. There is some countries like Jordan's like that. Middle East map வச்சு பேசு. லிபியா எங்க இருக்கு தெரியுமா? லிபியா எங்க இருக்கு? ஆப்பிரிக்கால இருக்கு. ஜோர்டான் தான் அங்க இருக்கு. லிபியான்னு பேசுற. The Middle East is a region where the current world is concentrating. The Middle East is actually something which we need to get intrigued about. The countries does not signify a battle between a religion. The country does not signify the battle between the culture. The countries does not signify the battle between the race. This Middle East is actually the fight that has been fought because of the tensions of the big four players. The big four players, not we can say simply big four, we can say the war of big two. The big two problems are now becoming the problems of the Middle East. So something which we need to be cautious about is what is happening in the Middle East and why it is going to be the biggest crisis for the world. Before going into the Middle East, we will see how India will tackle this Middle East war. India is actually need to not interfere in any of the Middle East wars. Why? You see, Middle East wars are not made by fighting between religion, fighting between culture, fighting between race, fighting between color, fighting between anything. It's actually a war between the hand of East and hand of West. So Middle East is now become as a playground for United States and Russia. The war is now became exploited. United States and Russia are sending their weapons to test their might. So if you see the Israel, it is a very, very special case. Israel is a very special case. Both United States and Russia despises Israel. But who supports Israel? That is the biggest question mark. The Israel is ruled by Netanyahu. Israel people are Jewish. Jewish diaspora is there in both Russia as well as in United States. This country, Israel, usually handles their tactics with diplomacy in both East and West, getting weapons for them, getting knowledge for them, and then fighting against it. The Israel's intelligence, Mossad, is one of the most top-notch intelligence agencies in the world. Why Mossad has become like a top-notch intelligence agency? Because they have been experienced trauma for centuries. So the need made Mossad to become as a top intelligence agency. The Jews were everywhere, but they had needed a promised land because it was actually a play by the United Kingdom, British. The Great Britain made the statement of Israel to be at Bethlehem. I mean, at the area near to the Palestine. The Palestine was given for the Israelis to get settled there, to create their own promised land. There were small amount of Israeli Jews settled there. I mean, the small amount of Jews from United Kingdom, the refugee lands started settling there, and then people from most of the areas like Germany, Poland, who escaped from the regime of the Axis powers had moved into Israel, making their population too much. Too much of refugee is a danger for any country. Similarly, that happened a major problem for Palestine. So that is what the history of the Israel-Palestine conflict happened. It was in the terms of ceasefire, but why this became as a war? Because the strike of Hamas and Hezbollah made them even more aggressive, Israel was waiting for a chance to get attacked, and then they gave rebuttal, getting weapons from each and every country, getting aid, getting everything, and now they had occupied some of the most important places. So this war will not stop any day. Mostly it will be like a small skirmish. The skirmish will evolve into war. They will fight with each other. This will not stop any day. The weapons will be always under supply continuously. Why Israel is becoming a very, very special case? Simply to say, both of the countries despises Israel. Israel is actually a pain for both of the East and West countries to move their diplomacy. United States are indebted to support Israel just because of the lobbies present in that. As usual, Russia is also indebted to support because of the lobbies. Jewish lobbies are there everywhere, not only in United States, United Kingdom, in the entire top organizations in the world. In each and every top organizations, the lobby for the Jews are there because they are the natural minority in the world and they are more smart. Literally, most of the top entrepreneurs in the world are smart people. Some of the top entrepreneurs in the world are Jews. You also know about the Illuminati. The top Jewish families are there. So you could able to decode and find out there will be lot of Jewish people are present in the world. Even the technology heads in the world are also from the same community. You could able to see lot of people from Jewish community are very, very holding big positions in the area of technology or in the bureaucracy or in everywhere. In most of the countries also they hold the top positions, especially in the most developed countries. In the top countries, they also have the huge lobbies and their Illuminati is also supporting them. That is why Israel is known as the special case.
Recently, we had got a news that the Russian nuclear general, the lieutenant general of the nuclear weapons have been blasted out by Ukraine. To be honest, Ukraine gets support from Russia. The Russia, is one of the most powerful country in the world. They are the sworn political enemies of United States. Both United States and Russia don't fight directly. They fight in an indirect means. That is what happening in the Middle East as well as the top East and the European Asian borders. They fight the skirmish. To be honest, right now the Russian strength is getting weakened. The United States is advancing over Russians. This what happens when you see the proxy war between United States and Russia, which goes to very, very intense thing. The United States has gone to way big ranks fighting against the Russian empires. The empires starting from the Vladimir Putin. This is what happens when people are trying to make something new. This new world is becoming two different poles, the pole of United States, the pole of Russia. The India is now dwindling in the poles. The India is actually in a very, very questionable state to where to stand and where not to stand. This is what we are hearing most of the times. United States, Russia is destroying the entire world. So peace will be the option to make success. There are a lot of countries in this United States lobbies and Russian lobby. So previously they were in the name of USSR and USA. United States still requires Canada, while the Russian Empire still requires the Ukraine. If the Russia takes over the Ukraine, that's the story of the new era. Russia will start to go towards them. The Ukrainian Empire will start its new course. The Russo-Ukrainian new era will begin. This is happening because of the sole reason, the world domination. The world domination never stops. The people are so hungry of the power. The Russia is trying to wrest its control over the Asia, but still it could not able to do it. The Russia could not able to wrest control of Asia. It is because of its China. China is more of an enemy than a friend, while India is more of a friend than an enemy. So they are trying to give each and every counterattack to China via this India. And this Pakistan is acting as a checker between the United States and China. So Pakistan's two diplomatical is United States and China. But we will also talk about how India had saved Pakistan from humiliation in multiple occasions. But despite saving them, it's kind of waste. That's not going to improve any of the countries' relations between each and another. In the end, we can talk about politics, democracy, everything, but people's vote is the major thing. Every time this happens. That is why Donald Trump was aiming a lot to win, and Vladimir Putin does not even conduct election properly. This is what the domination between each and every others. The Russia and Ukraine are playing one of the dangerous games. Let us see about something which we are so shocked about. First of all, the war between the Syria is actually which we need to be surprised about. Kind of surprised, right? The Syria is a very, very powerful country once upon a time. While if you see, the Syria was being crumbled by the games of United States and Russia. This United States and Russia are making a lot of problems in the Middle East, especially. They are having their own leagues. The rightmost Iran is in different league, while the leftmost Saudi is in different league. The Iran and Saudi are the most major powers in the Middle East. You can see actually how powerful they are. The Saudi Arabia is having the most valuable the most valuable company called what? Aramco. The Aramco is the most popular company, most valuable company in the world. The Saudi Aramco is owned by them, while Iran is actually a very, very strong superpower, not virtually, while it's kind of powerful. Without Iran, you cannot even imagine the Middle East. The Middle East comprises of Iran to Saudi. While you can see there are some small bordering nations like Afghanistan and Pakistan also contribute slightly to the Middle East initiatives. The Middle East is actually a very, very powerful locations for each and every one. People who are working in Gulf, they would know how each and every states are there. Syria, Jordan, Israel, Palestine, more states like these. And apart from that, there are also certain countries like Yemen, Oman. These are kind of monarchy-based regions. Even the United Arab Emiratis are also sheiks. The sheiks, most of the Middle East are comprising of monarchy. Most of the Middle East are either having a dictator or they are having a supreme leader or they are having a king. You cannot expect a perfect democracy in the Middle East. That is the speciality of it. Mostly 90% of the Middle East country is either an Ayatollah or Ayatollah like supreme leader or a kind of king or a dictator like Saddam, Gaddafi, like that. I think the most kind of democratic nation in the the Middle East is Egypt. To me, that is the standards. Egypt seems to be more democratic when compared to others. That is the surprising thing. Other countries, if you see, either they have a supreme leader or a king. That is how this story runs apart. Like, there is no proper democracies there. So you can able to easily understand why United States and the Russia are trying to wrest the control over the Middle East. My podcast seemed to be slow. Why? Because I had not prepared any script in my front and I am speaking. I am recollecting the thoughts about each and everything which I gone through from the sources, not only newspapers or Twitter blogs or Reddit stories. I go through each and every part and parcel of the news. Even I go through news media, print media, some feeds, everything. I do not believe in a single source usually. It is because I hate that. If you are believing in only one specific source, there is no purpose of it to go through. You need to see both the propaganda as well as the reality. You also need to know each and every country how they do their propaganda. The art of doing propaganda is also important. If you see, you can able to know how much propaganda has been fed in each and every country. These propaganda usually happens to make their people feel proud. You might be surprised why they want to make their people proud. There is no proper democracy, so they need to keep their folks kind of pro. And there is also some kind of enmity between this Iran and Saudi. Why? The thing is, Iran is Shiites and Saudi are Sunni.
To be honest, there are either people take the side of Iran or people take the side of Saudi. So Iran and Saudi both are proxies of two different countries, as I told, the United States and Russia. Then comes the story of Turkey. Turkey is not even considered as Arab, but he's a Turk. He is a certain race. He's a non-Arab, but he controls part of Syria right now, and he has power due to the undue advantage of United States. He is strong enough to wrest control over some small countries which are under the control of the United States and Russia. Especially Turkey is becoming a vassal for the United States, to be honest. The United States, Russia usually plays with the Iran and the Saudi. The Iran and Saudi are also so smart. They don't fight directly. The Iran fights indirectly. The Saudi fights indirectly with each other. So that is how it happens. The Iran and Saudi both fight indirectly. Usually it happens like this. And the Turkey comes into the picture to have something more powerful. The Turkey makes everything more powerful compared to others. The Turkey plays a major role in the Middle East by endangering some of the most powerful forces. Now we will go through the concept of the Yemeni Houthis. Who are these Houthis? The Houthis are actually the pirate kind of people who are the pirates support the king of Yemen, as we discussed. The Houthis in a very short way, but they are similar to the Somalian pirates. So Somali pirates and Houthi pirates, who actually holds the Suez-based areas, the Houthis and the Somali pirates. These two people actually come under the allegiance of their kings. The both common thing is the king of Somalia and the king of Yemen have being supportive of these pirates. So these two similar guys are actually doing huge damage to the United States and its allies. And they are directly proxying the Russia. I took a long time researching this podcast because there are a lot of information coming day by day. The latest information which I got is the Israel
Houthi conflicts. Israel is counterattacking the Yemen Houthis. They are bombing the Sana'a, the Houthi camps and everywhere. While the Houthis are counterattacking with their most powerful missiles which they get from the Russia. In the end, it boils down to the same Israel. Why? Because they are occupying illegally the Syrian areas or Palestine areas. But that is the concept of legality and illegality differs because of the same reason. We could not able to take any sides. That is what the thing is. So we see there is lots and lots of conflicts happening in this world like this. So this Middle East, the most confused area. The buffer states are the Syria is now become a buffer state for both the United States and Russia. And there are also some places like the Oman. Oman does not even involve in most of the conflicts. Why? The reason is like they are involved in making their country more prosperous, like the United Arab Emirates and some of the countries. The thing is, they do not want to involve in any conflicts. They are the cash cows. The Oman, the United Arab Emirates, the Kuwait, they don't support anybody here or there, but they do businesses. The business Middle East, Arab, cash cows. So similarly, we will also go through the country called as Egypt. Egypt is the first African country that comes under the Middle East. The Turkey goes to the Europe, Egypt goes to the Africa. There are a lot of sub-countries that goes in this. Finally, we go through something called as Egypt. The thing is, Egypt is the African Arab country that has the Arab roots. They gained independence from the Turkey or the Ottoman Empire, to be honest. Not we need to speak about Turkey. Egypt was the de facto state of Turkey. It is Arab country that swore allegiance to United States because of the United States and the Europe, and it also swore allegiance to the United Kingdom just because of only one reason, that their independence was given by these Europe and United States. The Ottoman Empire's hand in Egypt got crushed because of the Europe and United States. So they are so loyal to them. And they are also having a very, very good terms to Israel. The reason is they have a lot of common enemies between each other, but Egypt is not an enemy to anybody due to its kind of moderate policies. The Israel-Egypt war was there. The Israel gave the Sinai Peninsula back to Egypt. That made Egypt and Israel a lot of good terms. Now Egypt and Israel are in very good terms, despite showing that announcement. They are not showing indeed big hatred to Israel just because of the United States. No country in the world directly attacks Israel. Now, the Iran has a lot of anger on Israel, and the Saudi also has a lot of anger on Israel. But they will attack only if they get command from their bosses. That is what the thing is. Their bosses, the United States and Russia. So now why Russia is against Israel is because of the main reason is that Russia is having the Chechens. The Chechen power is now growing. Russia is now against Israel indirectly. That is why the main reason the Israel is getting attacked by Iran and its allies. And the thing is, they are not in the mode of liberating anybody. There is no victor or loser here. The Palestine is being attacked by Israel just to gain them land. Similarly, if we see Iran, they are trying to expand their strength in the Middle East. The Saudi are more going towards the side of wealth. This is what the concept that revolves around. The Saudi is going towards the wealth and the Iran is going towards the land.
It has been a long time to release podcast. This podcast I've been researching for a very, very long time. Do you know why? Because there are a lot of events happening simultaneously. This is I've been following. When I'm searching something new happens. For example, there are some developments between the Ukraine and Russia war suddenly. Then there are some developments in the Israel wars suddenly. So these things are going very high five. That's what each and every issue in Asia has been flaring up out of nowhere. That is what the Syria conflict. Israel had advanced into Syria and now it is attacking Yemen. So this is happening like something, each and everything. And the Russia-Ukraine war is also being intensified. And there are a lot of involvements between the North Korea and Russia. Secret pacts are also being uncovered. These are a lot of things I had updated in this podcast. That's what it took a lot of time to explain about, because there are a lot of news. The recent North Korea news, that's what we need to go deeply, and I'm researching that one. And this geopolitics is now in Asia is very, very intensifying. That's what I had discussed in this podcast extensively. So please let us know your comments. And don't forget to subscribe to Alpha in YouTube and Speak and Boom Sasikudanti in